is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to Dope Interviews, brought to you by the mighty 19 Media Group. I'm your host, Warren Shaw, and you know we like to do things different here on Dope Interviews. And today we're stepping into the world of jewelry, and more specifically, Marvel jewelry. Here to discuss East Continental Gems collaboration with Marvel, I have the Executive Vice President, Pace Tropper. What's good, Pace? Welcome to Dope Interviews. How we doing?
Hey, how are you, Warren? So excited to be here.
Man, this is an exciting time for me as well, too. Marvel is such a big situation out here in the world of everything, right? So many fans here, too. And to see what you're doing here now in collaboration with them is a pretty exciting time. So we're going to get into all of that and what East Continental Gems has going on with Marvel Studios. But I had to get some background on you here first. All right. So you're obviously a jeweler, so to speak. But what is your personal relationship and affinity to Marvel?
So it's funny. I am a new Marvel fan. And by that, I mean, this idea came to me and to get, involved in this project before I, really knew anything about Marvel. Adam Murzoff, the president and the fourth generation jeweler from East Continental Gems, who was a friend, and he came to me with this idea saying, I walked into a Disney executive's office and saw a large toy Infinity Gauntlet. And I said to them, and he said to them, do you guys have a real one of these? And they're like, no. And that's sort of this idea was born. And then he comes to me one morning, and we were friends, and he's like, dude, I was speaking to Marvel, and I had this idea, I have these, I collect these really big gems and stones, and I think I'm going to make, an Infinity Gauntlet with Marvel. And I'm like, what's an Infinity Gauntlet? What are Infinity Gems? And so I did my, basic research and started learning about it. But what's happened since then is I've now, watched all the movies, dabbled in the comics, start knowing, the different characters, and I've grown to actually really appreciate what the Marvel narrative and that whole world in a new light now that I've been exposed to it in a different way.
Pace, I think that's actually a really interesting story. So that kind of answers the question of how the idea kind of came about, right? And I think there's a lot. I actually have a toy Infinity Gauntlet where Thanos is actually one of my favorite characters in terms of villains, right? I mean, I know,
right.
Not go too crazy, but that's my guy. In terms of that, I understand, where he's coming from in some ways, but. What is your favorite Marvel movie since you've kind of caught up on some of the stuff that was happening in the Infinity Saga?
There's something about the artistic style of the Doctor Strange film that's sort of set in this. I don't know. There's something about it that really talks to me artistically. But Endgame. I really like some of the other ones as well. But yeah, that would be my favorite.
Yeah, well, ironically, Doctor Strange, the first one, is my wife's favorite one as well too. So
which is why I'm wearing one of our Eye of Agamottos.
Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, look at this. This is we'll get to this, but this is a little beautiful Eye of Agamotto here.
So Pace, let me ask you this situation here right now. So the Infinity Saga is obviously a couple years old. Was there any trepidation in thinking about going into and making this jewelry here now, a little bit years after the Infinity Saga kind of closed out?
Yeah. So actually, there's a number of reasons that. We were really excited from the onset of tackling the Infinity Gem project. Number one is, the success of the, Infinity Saga and the Marvel franchise film is just so ingrained in culture that we see that as timeless. Sure. Quite frankly, a lot of the nostalgia plays into collectibles as well. It's not only, in the toy market, you might have more of like what just came out yesterday or what's hot. But in collectibles, we find a lot of that is driven by people's association. And our demographic grew up on the Infinity Saga. Whether it be the comics, which date back already, a bunch of years, and then the films. And we really talk to both of those collectors. In addition to that, there's not that many, I don't think there's anything else that has the ability to be interpreted so directly into a gem, right? Into something of intrinsic value, right? So, we can take a lot of different, new buzz, pop culture things and put some gems on it, or ice it out or whatever. That's cool. But what we did is we've created the Infinity Stone, right, based on the Marvel narrative, and we took a real stone, a real gem from this world, and married those two things together. So when our interpretation is so direct that, so like there, that value, we weren't scared of that. Like, we embraced that, because quite frankly, we look at things like birthstones, right? Which, maybe a bunch of years ago, and maybe as a little child, I remember it, and my parents, my grandparents, but like, today, I don't know how popular the birthstone concept is, but for your 20, 30, 40-year-old telling me, like, what's your Infinity Stone? Like, which Infinity Stone best describes who you are? Are you Soul Stone, Space Stone, Power Stone? I think that opens up a whole new conversation.
Yeah, I think that's obviously a really great answer here, Pace, because it is a cultural phenomenon, and years later, and I think they'll still be able to make money off of this in whatever capacity, because there's just so much nostalgia. I think a lot about that too. I remember even just seeing the movies with my friends and my family, and we think about those times when we all got together, 20, 30 of us, to go watch a film, and you get embedded into it and watching the breakdowns and the whole nine. So now to be able to have a real life, if you will, piece and collectible, I think is a really amazing situation. You could have just done this as, hey, these things are available, let's do them online, but y'all went so far as to basically to create a store, an in-person store in New York. And this is, Marvel doesn't have too many of these in this capacity. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that thought process and the personal shopping experience when people were to come into that store in New York?
For sure. So part of our, thinking and our excitement around this collaboration was generated by our love of gems. We come from that world, and we saw that, maybe not everyone is appreciate the gems the way that they once were. So having the ability to sort of offer this concept to the world, and saying is that, let's take another look at gemstones. Let's take a look at it from the perspective of Infinity Gems, right? And having to educate the consumer on both, the Marvel side, but even if they knew about, what the Marvel Infinity Gems represented, they may have not know or understand the value of what a ruby or a sapphire, and what the properties that each of those individual things have, or a yellow diamond, or a spessartite, or a garnet. And we're trying to sort of bridge those worlds and educate people, and saying, look at this, you're looking at a 1.5 carat, ruby, beautifully colored from Mozambique. These are the dimensions. This is the carat weight. These are the enhancements done to it. And this is your collectible Infinity Gem, right? And all that information. And then you can hold on to that and put it on your shelf and save that. And then maybe your friend gets a little different one, and he can on a larger one or a smaller one, but it has another property that makes it even a little bit more rare. And then you want to trade it with them, or you want to sell yours and buy the other one. That education, we felt, having that forward-facing ability for people to come into our space and into our universe and invite them in and educate them, that's where the thinking of really focusing on having a space where people can, we can invite people into our world to educate and inspire the next generation of gem collectors.
Man, I think that's so smart. And how is that going, if you will? Because people can see gems of this value, and we'll talk about the gauntlet and its overall value. Now, this isn't necessarily for the everyday person. Everybody can afford to be and collect in this space. But what has the audience response been? Are you seeing people from all demographics, fans of Marvel, fans of jewelry, fans of both, kind of coming in?
So we're seeing, we're really seeing this. So first of all, the response has been incredible. Being here in Soho, just the walk-ins, although, as a higher end establishment, we have to be aware of, limitations, how many people we have in the space at once and so on. But the walk-ins have been phenomenal, as well as people scheduling appointments to really have the time with a jeweler and someone who understands a gem and can properly educate you on your buying decision, on your purchasing decision. But to your point about like who's who is coming out of the woodwork for this, who's scheduling appointments, who's walking in, who's purchasing. So we're seeing really there's a couple of items that we offer, ranging really to something that I would say is closer to every day, that Marvel asked us to create to sort of be allow everyone who wants an Infinity gem to have one, and that's like a $225 gemstone. They're sold individually or as a set. And those are semi-precious gems. And those, I think, are your everyday Marvel fans that want something substantial, something nostalgic, something of value, something that you can hold on to. This will go up in value, will retain its value, because these, even though maybe it's not a precious gemstone, these are still gemstones. It's not just a piece of plastic. Yes, there's a piece of sealed in a specialty case to preserve the integrity of your gem, but inside is a actual gem that you can see through a window. Really interesting. So that would be like your everyday Marvel fan and collector. Then we have, yes, the more diehard Marvel fan collector coming in here wanting to buy something maybe for their legacy, maybe for their children to have one day, care about the number series that they have, the particular properties of their gemstone, and they're buying the collection one by one as they come out. And we've been releasing them publicly, like in drops of small quantity in each of the stones. And those are like $1,700, and they go up to about $20,000. And those are based on the carat weight that you have. So if it's, a smaller carat weight will be about $1,700, and then all the way up to over two carat, which will be in the $20,000 range. And then we have our gauntlets, which I'll show you soon, which are custom made for those precious gemstones. And as I think everyone knows, the gauntlet has become a cultural icon for the ultimate symbol of power, right? We see athletes coming out, after a home run, coming out of the dugout with a gauntlet. We see, people of power, tweeting things, showing them holding a gauntlet. It just, it exudes this idea of power. And obviously, Thanos did some bad things with it, but it could be equally used for good or for bad. But it's that idea of power. So we're seeing some collectors or some just everyday people that maybe like Marvel, or appreciate Marvel, but they appreciate the idea of having this sort of power symbol in their lives, just on one way, on display, on the side of their desk, with their other, whatever it may be, awards or trophies or whatever else they're collecting, and want to sort of paint the story of who they are, a reflection of who they are, almost like a sculpture. So those are really who's been, coming in here and just, taking this stuff off the shelves.
So you talked a little bit about that, we're comparing some notes. So I'm going to bring mine out. So mine is, not clearly, this is the plastic one, right? So this is the one that, guys like myself, hey, whatever, we're fans, but you have the one of one Marvel Infinity Gauntlet that is valued at roughly $25 million.
Yes. So and that's shown in picture form behind me. Maybe I can move over a little bit if you can see that. And that is a 1-to-1 scale Infinity Gauntlet that is using the finest gems of its kind in the accurate film scale. So what that means is that you're looking at in the center, you're looking at a 30 carat yellow diamond. And in the thumb, which you can't see that well, you're looking at a 20 carat, 100-year-old emerald, and so on and so forth. All best of its class stones used in that. That obviously is not something that is actively for sale. It's something that we've created. It's once in a lifetime. It's our legacy piece. But what we are offering here in the ECG Concept showroom in Soho are these beautifully handcrafted by a jeweler. So we took like the world of jewelry and moved it together with, prop replica type, execution to create this beautiful pure brass Infinity Gauntlet, which I will show you here if we can get in here. And this is just, you see that it's just shining here, and it's just, this is in the high gloss version, and it's just really beautiful. It comes on this display stand. Take a look at that, and it could just sit on your desk, beautiful, just showing the real detail. Here, I'll bring this close here. This is removable. Let me see if I can get in there. That's a yellow diamond. I know it's the light is shining off a little, but these are all precious gemstones set for the gems that you pick out, right? So if you picked out, a 2 carat, it would be a 2 carat. This happens to be shown. I'm showing this one in the 1/2 carat size, and these are limited to 200 editions of these Infinity Gauntlets, these collector edition Infinity Gauntlets.
Pace, it's stunning. It really is, and I wish I was there with you so I can get my hands on it.
It is really beautiful. We've been pretty much selling them as we release them here. They're currently available on order. We're trying to get a lot of these out before Christmas. A lot of people are really excited to have some of these as gifts for holiday, whatever holiday they're celebrating. But we're really trying to get these out. They take time to make. They're all made here locally in New York. Like we were making our jewelry for the past 4 generations.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between Blueview Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at Blueview Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. Blueview Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/Blueview19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
Man. Pace, so the store is open here now through the end of the year, roughly, right? Mm-hmm. And you talked a little bit about the Eye of Agamotto. There's like a little deep cut in there too, because there's 26 iterations, I think, of the eye. But what other pieces?
There's 24 iterations, and here I'll get you a closer look at these. And the reason we did 24, we call this the GMT series, representing the 24 time zones of the world. And this is also a beautifully crafted brass and gold Eye of Agamotto, featuring a 2.5 carat emerald. And this is all, done by our jeweler, and this is hand braided leather. And so there's 24 of these in the GMT series, each one corresponding to a different time zone. And this is GMT plus 12 we're looking at here. And this is the first one that we released. And this one is $25,000. And each of these stones are different, and they have different attributes, different sizes, and are scaled and priced accordingly. So this is a smaller scale, suitable for if you want to, this is like almost like an everyday piece, compared to some of the larger ones that are the 1-to-1 scale, which are a much larger medallion that, would probably be just put on a shelf or worn only at special occasions.
Pace, what's been the most awe-inspiring piece there that people come in? I mean, obviously the gauntlet is just as symbolic as it is, but is there anything that's been maybe not say awe-inspiring, but maybe the surprise, like, oh wow, because the gauntlet's obviously going to capture a lot of the attention. But what else is there can people interact with and see and kind of be awed by once they come into the store?
So we have this beautiful display of, we have these, these collector's edition gauntlets, which is like the first thing that I think people go, oh my God, right? So we have these, these collectible gems on display, followed by in their packaging sealed up. Then we have this gauntlet, which is like, oh wow, like, collect those, you can get this 1 of 200. Then that brings us into our Eye of Agamotto's, which is really exciting for everybody to look at. And then we actually have some other. We have this other. I'm looking at it right now. which is a 1/4 scale Thanos statue that we did in collaboration with Iron Studios, and we unveiled it at Comic-Con this past year in San Diego. And it's this large Thanos, with all the details, beautiful set based on a comic, and we took a whole bunch of gemstones and adorned his gauntlet with that. So there's sort of this giant statue sitting here. So there's some vintage comics here. There's really like a Marvel lair in a certain sense. So there's like Marvel lore and history artifacts just scattered around in the space. So it's really a delight for collectors.
Pace, so you said from the beginning that the idea kind of came about, as one of your leaders were in the Disney, studios, right? So now we have the Infinity Saga, but what's next, right? You can continue on with this. So I'm going to ask you this point blank: will we ever get a Wakanda jewelry series from ECG?
Right. So the answer is that we unfortunately cannot talk about these we're unable to talk about this, what we have in the pipeline with Marvel, or if Infinity Gems are going to be making a comeback or anything of that nature. Like I said,
hold on, Pace. So you might know something, but you can't. I got you.
Exactly. So we are gem people at our core. Sure. We are purveyors of fine gems. So the projects that excite us the most are those that directly correlate to gems, which pull in the gems. So, for example, we might not be moving on to a different saga or a different collection, but we are working on a beautiful Loki scepter, 1 of 1. And that's going to be really exciting. That's coming out in the next 4 to 6 weeks. And that's been really exciting, working with a really talented blacksmith out of also local here in New York, because our jewelers were like, it wasn't within their wheelhouse to create that. So we took this to a veteran blacksmith. So yes, we're constantly sort of developing new things, but we are staying true to who we are as colored gem people.
Pace, that's going to wrap it up here for us here on Dope Interviews. Tell the people where they can catch the store and then where they can find you online.
Yes, you can come here at 26 Mercer Street in Soho, and set an appointment online at eastcontinentalgems.com. Some of our products are available, but not all of them. A lot of the products, like this gauntlet here, is only available for pre-order in the store, starting at $16,000. And and we're on socials at East Continental Gems.
That's it, my guy. Thank you so much for joining us here on Dope Interview. Again, if you are in New York, make sure you check out the store. Keep tapping in with everything Marvel, and Pace got it going here, man. There's really, really amazing collection. I'll put links to all the stuff, all the press images in the podcast as well too, so you can check it if you don't have the ability to get to New York. Again, he is Pace Tropper. Make sure you follow Instagram, East Continental Gems on IG. You can follow me at Shaw Sports NBA or at Dope_interviews on Twitter. And as always, you know what it has been. It's been another Dope Interviews, and we are out.
Together we stand, divided we never. The vision is one, striving for the better. Working as a team, working toward a dream. It's not even work when the team is the dream. On a united front, we got our own back. A band of brothers to counteract any attack. One heart in fact, forget what the blood say. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. So let's do it for the love, give to the max. Listen to opinion, but react to facts. And remember that together with a but separate, just pieces of it. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
Family represent like a tree with names on it. We're free, no chains on it, relieved. The pain's gone, I can see. We come together like questions on the quiz. Mojo Flow and Viz, man, you know what it is. And if ignorance is bliss, you're gonna hate this lesson. Organized intellect like a tropical depression. My symbol is the cross, a mic and ghost peppers. Cause I'm just a black sheep growing up to be a shepherd. Moonlighting as a weapon to protect the children. Every brother is a father, dynasties we're building. Max, J and K, Bay, and Isaiah, next level of the family foundation, understand me?